March 1st, 1919, long-live Korean independence resounded throughout Korea. Amid the shouts of 2 million people that rose like wildfire, there was also the cry of a 19-year-old young man from Gyeongsang Cheil High School. That man is Shim Hoon, a writer who wanted to achieve independence by awakening national culture in the future. Independence Day will come someday. If given the chance, I will once again call out hooray. He is an anti-Japanese literary activist who awakened the era with the language of fervent resistance. June 1926, a poem recited at the funeral of Sunjong, the last king of Joseon. In the waves of white robes overflowing the main road, rise many cries. Bayonet flashes, where the noise of soldiers' horseshoes is noisy. The enraged crowd is driven and trampled. They fall to the ground and scream. The poem sang about the desperate reality of the gloomy country and became the catalyst for the June 10th National Independence Movement by exploding the nation's sorrow into anger. Shim Hoon awakened the spirit of the nation with his harsh anti-Japanese language. His poems became the driving force for dreaming of independence and acting in the dark shadow of Japanese colonial rule. There is no greater power than uniting hearts. There's nothing more frightening than coming together and acting together. We are always receiving great support. Shim Hoon, who worked hard to communicate with the public despite such adversity, serialized Korea's first film novel, Mask Dance, in the Dongha Ilbo in 1926. After taking film classes in Japan, his movie, When the Sun Dawns, was successfully produced as a screenplay director. But whenever Shim Hoon uttered the language of independence and resistance, the government general raised the sharp edge of censorship. During the 3 years of working as a literary journalist for a newspaper, Shim Hoon's literature suffered a severe hardship. Lovers from the East, which depicted the love of independence activists, was interrupted due to censorship. Phoenix, which dealt with the struggles of the proletariat in Korea, was suspended. However, his brush did not stop, and his desire for independence did not wither away. When that day comes, Mount Samgak will rise and dance. The waters of the Han will rise up, if that day comes before I perish. The protest poem When That Day Comes was not published due to censorship by the Japanese government general of Korea. The reason was that people could be shaken by the disquieting ideology of wishing for independence. Avoiding the narrowing Japanese censorship, Shim Hoon headed to Dangjin, Chungcheongnam-do, where he built Pilgyeongsa and devoted himself to writing. The tip of our brush goes out grinding on white paper daily. One brush. It is our plow and our only tool. And the novel Sangnoksu was completed in a year. Sangnoksu was selected as the prize winning in a contest. It was serialized in newspapers and contributed to the spread of rural enlightenment movement. Don't look back on the past and be sad. Those days will never come back. Only rely on the present. So, be strong like a man. Face the future. And he was waiting for that day to come someday. When that day comes, I will pound the Jungno bell with my head and ring. The bones of my skull will scatter, but I shall die in joy, with no regrets. As a farmer plows the field with a plow, Shimhoon dreamed of that day, sharpening the darkness of the times with a brush. Unfortunately, Shimhoon did not see that day. 9 years later, the day he had longed for came.